2, and 3 and have it done and brought back, okay? We're gonna go over the story problem first at the top, and then we'll go over the 3 that you were asked to do, okay? And I think most of you got it done in class. Go ahead and
I already did.
Okay. So what we're doing is today we're just going to keep reviewing, adding, and subtracting with mixed numbers. Number 4, an urban planner is designing a skateboard park. The length of the skateboard park is 120.5 feet. The length of the parking lot is 40.33 feet. What will be the length of the park and the parking lot combined? What is my clue word? Anytime we're doing story problems, find the clue words. What's my clue word to tell me if I'm going to add or subtract? Anybody? Combine. What does that mean? What am I going to do then?
Putting them together.
I'm going to put them together and I'm going to add. They went back to their old ways going across. You need to write it, and I want you to write it right now, up and down. No matter what, they have the answer. I see, okay, the answer is going to be 160 and 5/6. That better be my answer. Okay, but I have to show the work. So what I have to show that I'm going to find a common denominator, which is what?
6.
Okay, and then you have to show that. So times it by 3 over 3, which is 1 times 3 is 3. Times this by 2 over 2, which is 2 6. Then I add. 3 plus 2 is 5, and keep that denominator. 120 plus 40 is 160. I did get the same answer, but I'm showing my work. You guys with me on that?
Yeah.
All right. So let's go to the problems that you guys were supposed to try for today. See if I make any mistakes. I don't care if you look with pencil or pen. It doesn't matter to me.
You make mistakes, you have to push-ups.
I guess.
We should, yeah, we should do that.
So I hope I don't make a mistake. But I can, if I make a mistake and I catch my mistake before you tell me, I don't have to make them.
No, you
I don't have to do them.
Yes, you
No,
do.
yes.
So
you
you guys
do,
have to find
100%.
them before I find it. 8.5 plus 3 4/5. The common denominator is
10.
10.
Guys, don't tell
Times this by 5. You do need to be answering too. 1 times 5 is 5. This is 2 over 2, which is
8/10.
8/10. Then I keep my denominator of 10. And 5 plus 8 is
13.
And 8 plus 3 is
11.
Then don't stop here, because I need to make that improper fraction a mixed number, which becomes 1 and 3 tenths. Then I'm adding my 1 and my 11, and I get 12 and 3 tenths. How many of you got it? Excellent.
I did it because I was doing it in a rush, and for some reason I added the denominators. I don't know why.
Because we make mistakes
Yeah.
and we rush. That's why we have to learn to slow down. Like sometimes when I'm showing you guys, I need to learn to slow down myself, because now I'm doing push-ups.
Yeah.
I
So
didn't
now I'm going to be
change it.
strong. So that's what you need to think. All right, number 2. Even though they have common denominators, you're still writing them up and down. 7 and 5, 6. Minus 3 and 1, 6. I have a common denominator, so that can stay. 5 minus 1 is
4.
4, and 7 minus 3 is
4.
4.
4
But it's not just 4 and 4, 6.
reduced by 2.
Oh, reduced by 2. Don't try to rush yourself where you're not getting it all the way. So it's 4 and 2/3.
Yep. Yay! I got it.
I got
3.
4, 6, right?
11 minus 6 and 3/8. That's where you're going to have to catch yourself today, because we're going to do more examples today, okay? 11 minus 6 and 3/8. Can I take 3/8 away from nothing?
You have to borrow.
Make it
a
a
10 and an 8.
Okay, so I'm going to borrow. The 11 becomes a 10, and I add, I'm adding a whole. Excellent. And the whole is 8/8. Because my denominator is 8, so my numerator has to be 8, because 8 divided by 8 is 1. So I'm just taking that whole and making it into fraction form.
Yep.
Then I can take 8 minus 3 is
5/8.
5/8, and 10 minus 6 is,
4.
can I reduce anything?
No.
Okay. Yes.
Okay, so how did you get 8/8 again? Is
Okay.
it because of the denominator?
Yes, whatever the denominator is, you use as the denominator. And if you want it to equal a whole, you always use the same number on top,
Okay.
because that would be 1. So let's say my denominator, let's say I have 1/3, okay?
Yeah.
And I have to change it up somehow. To make it a whole, you would put the denominator as 3 and a 3 on the top. That would be
Yeah.
1 whole. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You guys understand how I'm getting that?
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter what the denominator is. Say the denominator is 4. So it'd be 4/4 is, that all equals 1 whole.
Okay.
And then when you add them together,
Well, if I have something here, yes, and we're gonna get to some of those examples. That's a good question. Any other questions? Okay, let's go on to number 4. This was not one you were supposed to have done earlier. So let's just take a look at it together. A hybrid car's gas tank can hold 11 9/10 gallons of gasoline. It contains 8 3/4 gallons of gasoline. How much more gasoline is needed to fill the tank? I want clue words.
More.
How much more?
How much more?
Subtraction.
So then I know that this is subtraction. So off to the side, you have to show 11 9/10 minus 8 3/4. Is 40 going to be my common denominator?
No, 20.
That's too many, because that means I'm gonna have to reduce at the end. So it needs to be what?
20.
20. So I multiply this by 2/2 and I get 18/20. Multiply this by 5/5. Fine, see if I make a mistake. 15/20. And it's subtraction. So can I take 18 minus 15?
Yes.
It's what?
3.
So I have 3/20. And 11 minus 8 is,
3.
so I need 3 3/20 more gallons of gas to finish filling my tank. I hope you guys all fill this out, and we're working on this as I was working on it on the board.
Could you have done 40, but like,
You could use 40, so that's a good question. Can I use 40? Yes, that's a common denominator, it's just not the least common denominator. So what that means is if I have 11 9/10 and 8 3/4, and I'm gonna use 40, this is times 4, so that's 36/40. This is times 10, so I have 30/40. And so I take 36 minus 30 is 6/40. 11 minus 8 is 3. You just have to make sure that 6/40, you're reducing it by 2, because they're even numbers, and it'd be 3/20.
yeah, so it's just a little bit.
So you can do it, but it's gonna be more work at the end,
Yeah.
okay? And then you're also working with bigger numbers. It's a lot easier to work with some smaller numbers. Okay. Look at the top of the next page where it talks about independent practice. Okay, we're gonna do some of these independent practices together.
No.
And on your own. What I want you to do, there are 3 at the top. I don't even remember the numbers now because I haven't turned my page yet. What numbers are they?
2 and 1.
1, 2, and 3. So they're just 1, 2, and 3. So sometimes different pages. Where are you at, Katie? Are you with me?
I thought you were like talking about the problem, so I was reading
that's
you the
okay,
problem.
that's okay. Oh, let's see, I don't think I'm on the right page. Alright,
You went too far over.
yeah. Alright. I want everybody to start with doing 1, 2, and 3.
right now?
Yep.
Okay, good.
Writing it up and down. Do it on your own. When you're done, stand up.
Wait, you want us to do the problem?
Yep, you're doing numbers 1, 2, and 3, and when you're finished, I want you to stand up.
Oh crap, I'm using a pen.
So am I.
I'm looking to see, when I go around, I'm looking to see, did you guys show your work? Are you writing things up and down? Are you trying to reduce? Are you looking things over? Because I'm not really looking to see if you exactly have the right answer or not. I'm seeing, are you following the steps that I have been given you? those of you that are done are just standing and you're not talking. You're just standing quietly. Working. 1, 2, and 3. Yeah, do all three, guys. 1, 2, and 3. I like the way you're working though. I'm seeing a lot of people
Yeah, I forgot to say.
following the rules on how to do it. Just make sure you always stay in place, okay? So you don't need to look at that. If you get it right, put a star by it and stay standing. If you get it wrong, fix it and then have a seat, okay? So we've got, let's look here. And I hope I don't make a mistake because that means I'm gonna have some push-ups to do.
I hope
Yeah.
I'm gonna slow down just a hair.
no.
My common denominator is already there.
Yes.
So I'm gonna leave it at a 9. Then I go, and I'm adding, I better double check, I'm adding. So 1 plus 4 is
5 9.
5, 2
Nine.
plus 7 is
9.
So I have 9 and 5 nines, I don't have anything to reduce, so I think I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
How'd you guys do? If you got it right, stay standing. Put a star.
Whole thing. We'll put a star.
Put a star, find your mistake. Make the correction.
I didn't finish it. I don't know what it is.
8 and 5, 12. Plus 11 and 1 4. I need to come up with a common denominator. Some of you just look, so I don't know who's banging, it's gonna be hard to listen when I'm having a video here for those of you at home, okay? So you guys gotta think about all that extra noise that you're making. Some of you took 12 times 4 to get 48 as a common denominator. That is a common denominator, but that's not a least common denominator. Your least common denominator is when I count by 4s. 4, 8, 12. Count by 12. 12. Right there is my least common denominator. That means I'm not going to have to reduce as much at the end. Sometimes you still have to reduce, but not as much. So if 12 is going to be my common denominator, I'm going to have 5 12s. Take this times 3 over 3 and I get 3 12s. I am adding. So 5 plus 3 is
8 12.
8 12. 8 plus 11 is
19.
19. But remember I said sometimes I'm not going to reduce as much.
I put
So
19
I need to reduce by 4
Oh, darn
I
it.
reduced by 2.
and I get 2 thirds. If you reduce by 2, okay, I'm going to show you.
Oh.
I got 4 6. Then I would have to reduce again by 2 again. And I can do that, and I get 2 thirds. So sometimes if you don't reduce by the biggest number, you're going to have to keep going and going and going. So now my final answer is 19 and
2
2 thirds. Find your mistake if you missed it. If you got it right, stay standing. If you didn't, sit down. 10 and 4 fifths, subtraction, minus 2 and 1 fifth. I have a common denominator. So I just leave it at 5. 4 minus 1 is 3, and 10 minus 2 is
8.
Can I reduce anything?
No.
No. Sit down if you got it wrong, stay standing if you got it right. Put a star there, please, so I want you to count your stars at the end.
I have 3 stars.
Excuse me?
I got 9
All right, have a seat. I like to see how many are standing at the end. Now, I want you to try 4, 5, and 6. Find those common denominators. 4, 5, and 6.
I was working on the other, I was working. Yeah, I know, I'm not
Because it'll help
tonight,
out.
yeah.
I know some of you might not be done, and that's okay. Okay, that is definitely okay that you're not done. So just go with the ones that you do have done and see how many of those you do get correct. And I'll take my time a little bit. So let's see. I have, everybody can stand up if you get them all done. And you're starting all over. So even if you sat down once, you're standing up again. So I have 9 and 4/5 minus 2 and 3/10. What should be my common denominator, Reagan? What should be my common denominator for number 4? What do you have, babe? If I have the number 5 and 10, you can use 20, but I got a lower one than that. Say that again. Yeah, let's use 10 instead. So I multiply this by 2 over 2 and I get 8 tenths, and I just keep my 3 tenths. So tenths is my denominator, 8, and then subtraction. Minus 3 is 5. 9 minus 2 is 7. Don't leave it like that, because the 5 tenths
Is a half.
you should be able to look at that and say, oh, that's a half. 7.5 is your final answer.
I just get my answer, so that's what I keep doing.
Yes. Stop, stop, stop. So then I have 11 and 3/4 minus 4 and 1/3. Which should be my common denominator, Robbie? 11 and 3/4 minus 4 and 1/3. What's my common denominator going to be? Think about it. You didn't get to this problem yet? That's okay. Count by 3s, count by 4s. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15.
Wait,
Count.
what?
Sorry?
12.
Say that again.
I said 12.
How about you say it better?
12. 12.
Thank you. So the answer is 12. And this is times 3 over 3, which is 3 times 3 is 9. Times it by 4 over 4. 1 times 4 is 4. Now I'm subtracting. Can I take 9 minus 4?
Yes, sir.
Yep. And it is what?
5.
5,
Twelve.
keep the denominator 12. And 11 minus 4 is? Can I reduce 5/12 at all?
No.
So that I'm done.
I got it wrong.
Yeah.
You're getting it wrong, you gotta sit.
I'm not surprised.
9 and 1/5 minus 2 and 3/5. Guys, remember, I'm recording and people at home cannot hear when you are talking in the background. Thank you. Do I need to change for a common denominator?
No.
It's already there. Can I take 1 minus 3?
No.
But now remember, 9 and 1/5 is a bigger number than 2 and 3/5. So because this is bigger, I'm not gonna have a negative number. What I'm going to do is I'm going to borrow. The 9 becomes an 8. And then I add, like we were talking about earlier, something that equals a whole. My denominator is going to be 5. So what's my numerator? 5. Box it up. And Carter, this is where we were at before. So you said sometimes you add them together, only if there's something there. So there's something here. So now I add them together and I have 6/5. So 6 minus 3 is 3, and I keep the denominator 5. 8 minus 2 is 6.
I didn't add them two together. I did 5 minus 3.
Okay, and you're finding your mistakes, so that's great. But do you see how you have to add it now if something's there?
Yeah, because I was thinking.
Because
about
before
what-
nothing was there. Excellent. All right, let's. I see you standing. Have a seat. And we're going to do 7, 8, and 9. Yep. Get working on 7, 8, 9. All right. Some of us are getting to this where we forget that we have to borrow, but remember, Yesterday I showed you that you can change it to an improper fraction. Today I'm just keeping it on borrowing because I think it's a lot faster. So I set my problems up already, but I didn't come up with a common denominator yet. What should be my common denominator of 5 and 3? 15. So this would be times 3 over 3, which would be 9 15. This would be times 5 over 5, which would be 10 15. I'm subtracting. Can I take 9 minus 10?
No.
No, and remember, 6 and 9 15ths is a bigger number than 1 and 10 15. So I borrow. The 6 becomes a 5. You always only borrow 1. And if I borrowed 1 whole, I'm going to add 1 whole as a fraction form, which is 15 15ths. Box it together. 9 plus 15 is
24.
so I have 24 15ths. Then I subtract. 24 minus 10 is 14 15ths, and then 5 minus 1 is 4. Can I reduce anything?
No.
Nope. You see how we're doing this? How many of you feel more comfortable today than yesterday? Okay, that's what we're working on. What's my common denominator going to be?
6.
So this stays 1 6. This is times 2 over 2, and I get to 6. Can I take 1 minus 2?
No.
No, but 14 is greater than 7, so I know the whole mixed number is greater, so I can borrow. The 14 becomes a 13 because you only borrow 1, and it's 1 whole, so I add 1 whole as 6 6. Box it together, and that becomes 7 6. Then 7 minus 2 is 5 6. 13 minus 7 is 6. Can I reduce anything? No. 8 minus 3 2/3. Can I just bring down the 2/3?
No.
No, because it's like saying 2/3 from something, but there's nothing there. So you have to borrow. The 8 becomes a 7, and this becomes
3/3.
3/3, because I'm just changing the 1 whole to a whole in a fraction form. So then 3/3 minus 2/3 is
1/3.
1/3, and then 7 minus 3 is 4. Can I reduce that at all? No. So 4 and 1/3. How many of you only missed 1 out of 1 through 9? Stand up. Good, good. How many of you feel better today than you did yesterday? Stand up. How many of you are still confused? Okay, good, good. That's good. I'm glad. I like the honesty. Okay, you have a seat.
What if we got them all right?
You got them all right.
Yeah.
The only one I got wrong is 8 because I put 7 and 5 6.
So you're finding, that's the biggest thing, you find your mistakes and then you go from there. If you're finding your mistakes, you usually try not to make those again. Alright, we are not going to finish the bottom of this page. I want you to turn. I have 2 more problems I'm going to show you, and then you guys are going to do some independent practice today on your own, because we worked 2 days together on this. And I want you to look at number 13. Do you think I'm going to go over 13 or 14?
14.
14. That's one of these messed up ones that you guys get confused on, right?
Yes.
I'm going to show it to you one more time today. And then when it comes up again, you're on your own.
Uh-oh.
Because every day I keep showing you how to do this. This is 3.5, and what is this sign?
Division.
Division, so I would write 3.5 divided by 5, and 5 is always over 1. Because it's a whole number. So then I have my mixed number, and I make it an improper fraction, which would become 7 over 2, 7 halves, divided by 5 over 1. Then we follow the rules of dividing fractions.
Keep change reciprocal.
Change, and yes, we're not going to say flip anymore, we're going to say reciprocal. Then I multiply. 1 times 7 is 7, 2 times 5 is 10. That's just this part right here. You guys better be writing this down. Bless you. So we're gonna do that again for 4 2/3 divided by 2. So you start with 4 2/3 divided by 2, and 2 is over 1. Change the mixed number to an improper fraction. 4 times 3 is 12, 12 plus 2 is, so I have 14/3 divided by still 2 over 1. Then I follow my rules of division. Keep, change, reciprocal. So then 14 times 1, I don't want to do that yet. What do I want to do first?
You wanna reduce.
Reduce by 2.
Cross
14
reduce.
becomes a 7, 2 becomes a 1. So then 7 times 1 is 7, 3 times 1 is 3. You guys with me on this? Okay? Then, so that's what this is. So then it tells me to add those two together. So I'm adding 7/10 plus 7/3. What's my common denominator? 30. So I'm multiplying by 3 over 3, so I get 21/30. Multiply by 10 over 10, I get 70/30. 30th is going to be my denominator. 70 plus 21 is 91. 30 goes into 91
3 times.
3 times, because 3 times 30 is 90. Minus 1 is 1/30. So I have 3 and 1, I can't even read that, 1/30. See how we got that? Take something that looks complicated and we simplify it. It's not so hard, right? You can manage it. I said I was doing 2 problems, I lied. I'm going to do 2 more. I forgot.
Oh, okay.
And then you're on help. I know, I lied. Okay, 15. Now, because I wanted to show you the examples when you're adding 3 fractions. First, look at fractions that have common denominators. When I'm adding, I can add in any order. So can I add 6 1/3 and 1 2/3?
Yes.
So I'm gonna write that up and down. 6 1/3 plus 1 2/3. Common denominator. So I have 3/3 and 6 plus 1 makes 7. But 3/3 is really one whole. So we add those together and it's 8.
Oh, wait. Yeah, 8.
So now those are done. And I add 8 plus 5 and 5/9. Can I leave that empty in addition?
Yes.
You only have to borrow if it's subtraction.
Oh.
Okay, you only have to borrow if it's subtraction, like a 0 and subtracting whole numbers. So then I have 0 plus 5/9 is 5/9, and 8 plus 5 is,
13.
can I reduce that at all?
No.
So that's how you do it, when it's more than 2 fractions. And it was nice that 2 of them had the same number.
Oh, yeah.
But let's look at, or the same denominator, I should say. Let's look at this problem. We have addition and we have subtraction. You have to follow the rules of adding and subtracting, right?
Yeah, sure.
Okay?
Yeah.
You always have to follow the rules. You always have to follow, like, you guys say PEMDAS, I say please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, or we just say it's following the steps, right? The order of operation. However you want to put it, it's the order of operation. If it's adding and subtracting, you just go left to right. So I have to do we have anything in common?
No.
No, and you have to go left to right. So I go 3 and 1/4 plus 2 and 5/6. What's my common denominator?
24.
12.
24 can
Well.
work, but then you're gonna have to reduce at the end.
Sorry.
Like a lot.
So let's use 12. Times it by 3, times this by 2. Yeah, 4 times 3 is 12, so 1 times 3 is 3. I'm adding, so 3 plus 10 is
13.
13 twelfths, and 3 plus 2 is 5.
Alright.
Do I leave the 13 twelfths?
No.
No, let's change that to 1 and 1/12, so then 5 plus 1 is 6 and 1/12. So then I have 6 and 1/12 minus 4 and 1/3. Cause I used these two, and this is my last one to use.
Hard 4.
12 is gonna be my common denominator again.
Can't do that.
So I have 4 12. Can I do 1 minus 4? So 6 becomes a 5. Add 12 12 to get
1 and minus
13 12. The 13 minus 4 is 9 12. 5 minus 4 is 1.
Divide by
Don't
3.
leave it.
Reduce by 3.
Reduce by 3.
3/4.
So I have 1 and 3/4. I'm gonna stop you just for a second. If I would've left it at 5/13, would I have had to do all that again?
Well,
No, so sometimes it's in your favor to leave it here if you have another operation. I always just make sure, get it down to the simplest mixed number as you can. Because you might not have to borrow next time, you know, and you always wanna have it, get in the habit of simplifying.
Okay.
Look at the next page, at page 305, it would say extra practice at the top. You are going to be in charge of doing all of 305. I was going to have you do 305 and 306, but I took off page 306.
So nice.
So because I took off an entire page, you're going to be required to do all of 305. You're going to take it, or do it, and then take a picture of that and submit that to today's lesson. Please look at the story problems on 26 and 27. They might be more than one step in order to solve it. That doesn't mean you can't solve it. You guys understand that?
Yeah.
Okay, you can do it.